1 Corinthians chapter 7. Now, concerning what you wrote to me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. But on account of fornication, let each man have his own wife, and let each woman have her own husband. Let the husband render to the wife due affection, and likewise the wife also to the husband. The wife does not have jurisdiction over her own body, but the husband does. And likewise, the husband also does not have jurisdiction over his own body, but the wife does. Do not deprive each other, except by consent for a time, so that you might be at leisure for fasting and prayer. Then you can come together again as one, so that the adversary does not tempt you on account of your lack of self-control. However, I speak this by way of permission, not by way of a commandment. For I wish all men to be even as I myself am, although each has his own gift from God, one in this matter and another in that. But to the unmarried and to the widows I say, it is good for them if they should remain even as I am. If, though, they do not have self-control, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn. And to those having married I command, not I, but the Lord, a wife from a husband is not to be separated. But even if she is made separate, let her remain unmarried, or to the husband be reconciled. And a husband is not to leave a wife. But to the rest I myself speak, not the Lord. If any brother has an unbelieving wife, and she consents to live with him, he is not to leave her. And the woman who has an unbelieving husband, and he consents to live with her, she is not to leave him. For the unbelieving husband is made set apart by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is made set apart by the husband, since otherwise your children are unclean, but now they are set apart. But if the unbeliever does separate himself, let him be separated. The brother or the sister has not been enslaved in such cases, but God has called us in peace. For how do you know, wife, if you will save the husband? Or how do you know, husband, if you will save the wife? However, as God has imparted to each one as the Lord has called each one, let him walk in this manner. I also appoint this in all the ecclesia groups. Was anybody called having been circumcised? Let him not become uncircumcised. Was anybody called in uncircumcision? Let him not be circumcised. Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing. Only the keeping of commandments of God counts for anything. Let each one remain in the position in which he was called. Were you called as a slave? Let it not be an anxiety to you. But even so, if you are able to become a free man, by all means take advantage of that. For the one in the Lord, having been called as a slave, is a free man of the Lord. And likewise, the one having been called as a free man is a slave of Christ. You were bought with a price. Do not be slaves of men. Brothers, into whatever he has been called, let each one remain in that with God. Now concerning the virgins, I do not have a commandment from the Lord, yet I give my opinion as one having received mercy from the Lord to be faithful. I reckon, therefore, this is good on account of the present distress, that it is good for a man to remain the same. Have you been bound to a wife? Do not search to be released. Have you been broken from a wife? Do not search for a wife. But even if you might have married, you have not sinned. And if a virgin marries, she has not sinned. Nevertheless, these will have tribulation in respect of the flesh. But I say this to spare you. But I declare this, brothers, the time has been made short, so that from now on even those having wives should be as if having none, and those weeping as though not weeping, and those rejoicing as though not rejoicing, and those making purchases as though not possessing, and those using this world as though not abusing it, for passing away is the system of this world. But I want you to be free from anxiety. The unmarried man cares for the things of the Lord, how he will please the Lord. But he who is married cares for the things of the world, how he will please the wife. There is also a difference between a wife and a virgin. The unmarried woman cares for the things of the Lord, so that she might be set apart both in body and in spirit. But she who is married cares for the things of the world, how she will please the husband. And I speak this for your own advantage, not so that I might tie a snare around you, but for the sake of what is appropriate, and a willing devotion to the Lord without distraction. If anybody, though, might think that he behaves himself in an unseemly manner towards his virgin, if she is of the full flower of age, and it ought to be so, let him do what he wishes. He does not sin. Let them marry. Nevertheless, he who stands firm in heart, not being in compulsion, but having power over his own will, and has so decided in his heart to keep at home his virgin daughter, he does well. So then, both he who gives her in marriage does well, but he who does not give her in marriage does better. A wife is bound by law for such time as her husband lives. But if her husband has fallen asleep, she is a free woman to be married to whomever she wishes, only in the Lord. But she is happier if she remains like this, according to my judgment, and I think I also have the Spirit of God.